Okay.
What's your name? Tell them what we call you.
Clemson Xander.
Clemson Xander, Clemson Tom. So we're out here hanging with Stingray.
That's awesome, man. So are you ready to go on ahead and pull up the guy who was always griping and in a bad mood?
You ready to talk to him?
Yeah, I guess so.
We guess so.
First off, I'm never in a bad mood. And second, we finally got somebody educated on the show. Welcome, Clemson Sanders. Or Clemson, what's your name again?
Clemson Xander. That's just it.
Oh, you know what? If your mom,
I
know your mama's smart, but if your daddy was smart, he would give you a good name. Like
learn your ABCs, Sanders. Man.
Learn your ABCs, bro.
Don't play with that boy thing.
No, it's okay. I'll be nice to him.
Man, I got to tell you, the first thing that we're going to talk about is obviously the reports out there that Clemson and both Florida State want to join Texas and Oklahoma in the SEC. Do you guys think that Clemson and Florida State should come into the SEC, or should they stay over there in the ACC?
Well, allow me to take this one first, please. Is it okay with CT? We was talking about this last week about the SEC getting in all these top teams, and Clemson Tom was talking about, how Clemson is still going to be a powerhouse and everything, no matter what conference he's. If that's the case, why would they want to go to the SEC? Because I went to go check my good friend Clemson Tom's social media page, and I got a lot of love from Clemson Tom fans. I mean, it was amazing how much they loved me and thought so much of my education and my intellect on college football. But with that said, I would say it would be a bad move. Here's why. Clemson and Florida State already have an easy schedule in the ACC. That will get them into the national championship run like it usually does. Keep the easy schedules. You don't want to come play with the SEC boys. The SEC boys will hurt you. Yes. Just stay with the ACC, play the Dukes, the North Carolinas, the Pittsburghs. I don't know who's in the ACC. The Glenwood Techs, the Russell County universities. I don't know. Whatever team do you think you're gonna play that week is probably not gonna be a good team. Stay in the ACC and hope that you can make it to this national championship on that schedule. Clemson Tom, you may retort.
There is no retort. We should stay in the ACC. There's a financial, bribe to go to the SEC. But if we leave the ACC, we are going to owe, I think it was like $500 million or something like that just to go. So we would get a check from the SEC that would be a little bit better. But by the time we catch up to everything else, we'll be so far behind the 8 ball. And then, at the same time, we do have an easier ride to get to the playoffs, being in the ACC. However, you saying that we would get hurt playing in the SEC is garbage. If anything has proven anything, we can easily compete with you boys. I mean, you got a few good teams here and there, but you're like, stick to the Dukes and stick to the Pittsburghs. And blah, blah. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, it's basically Alabama in the conference. It's really nobody else. Everybody else has a year here or there where they're good. I mean, we can go through the East, which is trash. We can go through half of the West, trash. I mean, we beat you with Kelly Bryant and at Texas A&M, and it was fun. We've beaten Georgia, we've beaten Alabama, we've beaten LSU. I mean, at this point, you're like, you come to the SEC and get hurt. Hurt by what? Hurt by talking to people who think their conference is supposed to be the greatest thing ever? You guys are living in the past. If you talk to any SEC team fan, like a big fan, like, our conference is the best. Yeah, man, congratulations. It's Alabama. That's it.
Let's talk about the past. Let's talk about the past. Let's talk about the past. Hold on. Let's talk about the past. Last 21 years. How many championships does the ACC have? national
Clemson.
championships.
But see, here's the thing. I'm not a conference guy. I'm my team guy.
I'm not a conference guy either. I got one team. I got one team in the NBA. I got one team in college football, and I got one team in NFL. I got one team. I'm loyal to my one team. I'm not a conference guy.
So why bring up conference like you're a conference guy?
What are you talking about? I'm just it's a historic fact that SEC is a powerhouse. That's where everybody wants to go. That's where all the good players go.
Bama, LSU. Let's see who else you got. Bama, LSU. Bama, LSU. Bama, LSU.
Bama and LSU. That's all. That's it. Georgia's no good.
Powerhouse?
Georgia is a powerhouse. Georgia's gonna be good. You're gonna see that in the first. You're gonna see that in season the first game.
Who?
How good Georgia's gonna be.
Okay.
You're gonna see that straight up.
Yeah, great job. You got Texas. Can't beat TCU. Man, you guys
Texas,
getting
well,
better.
you know, we can get off Oklahoma and Texas. As I heard, they're not going to be in the conference till like 2025. So
it doesn't matter. They're irrelevant in the Big 12, basically.
They're going to be irrelevant now. They're not going to be in the SEC to 2025. There's no point talking about them now.
That's all you
but
want.
I tell you this. But I tell you this right now. ACC, stay with ACC, Clemson. Stay with ACC, Florida State.
Okay.
Make that easy schedule because when you come play with the big boys, it's going to be.
Yeah,
I hate for football players to get hurt.
You know how dumb you sound.
You know how ugly you
look. You know, like play with the big boys, you gonna get hurt. Yeah, man, because I'm
gonna get hurt playing with the big boys.
Vanderbilt,
Dabo.
Oh, watch out for those
you played in the
Commodores.
SEC.
Oh,
tell
what
those
about
boys
Mississippi
to stay
State?
right
Oh, you
there
got the Cowbells. Oh, what about Ole Miss?
Oh, now you're making fun of Stingray with the Cowboys. Now you're gonna make fun of Stingray. Wow, you're gonna make fun of poor Stingray.
The Aggies.
Why are you gonna make fun of poor Stingray?
I mean, it was.
I love you, Stingray.
It was what it was. Who else you got over there?
I love you,
LSU. Okay, that's
it's okay. I love your videos.
LSU on that. Watch out, it's Mizzou.
Missouri is a 10-time better school than any
so
team
great
in the ACC.
Oh my gosh, Missouri.
Vanderbilt could be the team in the ACC.
Are you still talking?
Yeah, Georgia Tech. Oh, okay, I gotta play Georgia Tech.
Bragging on the conference.
No, not the Bumblebees.
You see me waving a flag? ACC.
Just call the people you know. Tell them to stay right there in the ACC where they're safe.
Well, Tom, you talked about LSU and Alabama, and that's all that the SEC had, and that's exactly right over the past 2 years, because if you will remember back in 2019, Joey Burrow, along with Ed Orgeron, Dave Aranda, and that awesome offensive coordinator down there won the national championship. And then last year, Alabama, along with Steve Sarkisian, Devontae Smith, Mac Jones, and of course, Nick Saban won the championship last year. So I will ask you guys to debate on this. If you had Joe Burrow and LSU of 2019 versus Mac Jones and Devontae Smith of Alabama in 2020, who wins that game and why?
Bama.
What?
Bama wins that game.
Why?
Why? Because they always have LSU's number. Occasionally LSU does something, but they've had LSU's number, man.
See, this is why I always respected Clemson, Tom, because he's smart.
No,
you know why? Because LSU wasn't that good. They exposed our defense.
It wasn't. They
wasn't that good.
They sucked.
We just kept picking on them all night. They literally won because they found the mismatch. That's the whole reason they beat us in that game. And I'm not taking anything away from them. They found the mismatch and they exposed it and they won the game. Good job.
And you think,
did exactly what you're supposed to do.
Stingray, if you think about it, LSU have more close games. In 2019, they beat the number 9 Texas 45-38 and number 9 Auburn 23-20. And you got to think when they beat Alabama, Tua was just came out of surgery. Came out for ankle surgery. He was just 20 days out. So, yeah, you think about what Alabama did in 2020 with Devontae Smith, Mac Jones. We had the Wilder House, or whatever the hell that nickname was called. We had the great offense. We had great running backs. Defense was a little suspect, but hell, I think the defense could beat LSU's offense. So I had to agree. You know what? This is why Clemson Tom is very smart. Clemson Tom, man, you're an educated young man. I'm glad that we finally see eye to eye.
I wish our fist would see your eye. That's what I wish.
It looks like Clemson Xander there has Joey's number. I guess we're going to have to school old Joey there. Anyway, here is our interview with the one and only Jason Campbell.
What did I tell you about bringing Auburn players on the CTS?
Dude, I don't care. This guy is a huge and big-time guest for us here on the CTS, bud.
You're going to have to start talking to me before you do stuff like this, Stingray. I know you're an internet sensation. I know the ladies go crazy over you, but you got to talk to me every once in a while. You know, pick up the phone and say, hey, man, we're going to have one of the greatest SEC quarterbacks ever to play the game onto the CTS. But unfortunately, he played for Auburn. You got to talk to me, man.
Okay. I'll do that from now on.
All right.
I'll do that from now on. But without further ado, like Joey just said, we have a huge guest for you today here only on 3rd and 3. Ladies and gentlemen, the rock star down on the plains at Auburn, well before Cam Newton, the one and only Jason Campbell. Jason, how are you doing today, sir?
Hey, guys, I'm doing pretty good, man. I can't complain. Just enjoying life, trying to find out, what's the next steps. Auburn is about to start off the season next week. We kick off training camp, so everyone's got to be excited about that except for Joey.
Now, you are still on the radio broadcast, correct?
Yeah, I'm still doing a radio broadcast team this year, so I'll still be on there. Myself, Ronnie, Stan, Andy, and Paul. So the same crew will be back again this year, bringing y'all the noise from the stadium.
Awesome. Well, man, let's go on ahead and get into it. And down at Auburn, how do you feel like the 2021 squad will do?
Well, Stephen, I think we'll do well. Honestly, the reason I say that is because we have a gauntlet of a schedule, which is really hard. But at the same time, Auburn typically does well when there's not a lot of hype and a lot of pressure going into a season. And, we've probably been riding under the radar this year because we've had so many changes. We got Coach Harsin in January. And then all of a sudden we lost some guys to transfer portal. We've picked up some huge guys in the transfer portal. So, it's to see how the dynamic of this team is going to look is totally different than what it looked like in the spring because of all the guys we was able to add to the team after spring ball. So from a secondary standpoint, I feel like we got to be the deepest in the SEC, if not in the country. We have 2 solid corners, 2 safeties. Everyone know about Smoke Monday and his ability to make plays in the passing game, and he always has a nose for the ball, pick up balls and take them in. And Roger McCreary, I probably say is our big time corner. He's the one that leads the corner position. So from that standpoint, you look at the offense, our linebackers from McClain and Papo, probably the best tandem in the SEC this year. I know SEC is deep when you talk about defense from Georgia and Alabama. And, LSU fell off a little bit last year, but at the same time, I feel like these 2 guys are the 2-headed monsters in the SEC from that position. And from an offensive standpoint, with Mike Bobo bringing a different system, now it will be under the center as well as in shotgun and not just everything from shotgun. It gives the offense a different dynamic to use Tank Bigsby a little bit more and to use Bo and play action and get him out on movements, which he's a dual threat quarterback that likes to get on the edge. So hopefully being under the center will help give him some relief in order to showcase his abilities outside the pocket instead of, scrambling backwards. He's able to stay within the system.
Yes. Well, let's go back to your playing days just for a second. And I heard on another network, the Stingray show, that you told the story about how mad you ever saw Coach Tuberville. Can you please tell us that story about them fighting and verbally fighting at practice?
Yeah. It was 2003. during the springtime. We was having spring practice, and Carnell's our star running back at the time, and Coach Witt, and the defensive side of the ball at that time with Coach Chizik. And you think about for us, offensively, Coach Nall was that year was trying to run the offense, and no, Bobby Petrino. So it's 2002. My bad, 2002. Because Bobby Petrino was running the offense, and Cadillac. We ran a pitch play to Cadillac, and the linebackers kind of lit him up against the side of the wall over there to the weight room, and kind of hit him against the wall. And all you saw was Tuberville just come running, and all you saw was defense coordinator, offense coordinator running at each other, just going at it. And it was a madhouse. It was totally competitive. Where you see Bob Petrino and Coach Witt going at each other. You see Coach Nall, and guys on the defensive side going at each other. And then Coach Tuberville is yelling at the defensive player that hit Cadillac. At the time, I think it might have been Rashad Gilliard, but so it was competitive, man, and it was exciting. Like that's when you knew, like we get in the locker room, we would laugh and joke about it and everything. But we told Cadillac he got his tail lit up that day. But but you didn't see a lot of live actions, but we did do a lot of goal line situations, a lot of 3rd and 1 situations, because we wanted to separate the meat and the potatoes. And the only way you do that is you have a live atmosphere. You can't worry about if a guy gets hurt, if a guy gets hurt there. That's why you play the game of football. You always have to find depth. So that, I think, turned the mindset of our football team, which I think is a lot of what Coach Harsin is trying to bring back to Auburn. He's trying to bring that tenacious, that toughness, and everything, and then instill that into our program. So the strength coach that was with us, well, Coach Yachts had us when I was there. Coach Pitt was under Coach Yachts at his one point in time in Coach Yachts' career. So I had a chance to meet him, and man, he's all about beefing these guys up and getting back to being strong, and guys hitting the weight room and carrying that over to the football field. So I think that's going to pay you off big time.
Yes. And my final question for you is this. Did you ultimately feel like you guys were the best team when you guys went undefeated, and did y'all deserve to play USC or Oklahoma?
Yeah, most definitely. We always wanted a shot back at USC because in 2003 when we played them, we have an offense coordinator. Like I said, Petrino had left and gone to Louisville. We were trying to do it by committee, which at that time no one had offensive coordinator experience. And then you playing against the #1 team in the nation in USC that year. Like, that was almost playing with a card half full. And so, to have a chance to play our senior year, get bored with someone, know exactly how to bring everything together from an offensive standpoint. I felt like we was built and we was ready, and we wanted that game because, we wanted that rematch. Because we should have beat them in 2002. We dropped a pass to win the game. And then the way we lost in 2003 didn't sit right with us, and we wanted another shot at them. And we felt like we did everything we could to position ourselves to do that. But unfortunately, the BCS messed it all up. But, we like to say that we started the process of the playoff talk. They got things rolling. That was the season because it was us, USC, Oklahoma, Utah at the time. And I think Cal was 10-1 at the time. So, we had some really good teams, man, that could have competed in a great playoff system. But at the same time, you can't take anything away from what we accomplished and what we did. And, I think the reason what we did, I think, opened up the door for a 2010 team, truth be told.
Well, Jason, let's face the facts. You guys were robbed. When you're the #1 team in the SEC and you had to settle for Virginia Tech, you guys should have been playing for the national championship. Now, I ain't gonna lie to you, as an Alabama fan, I didn't lose no sleep about it. But however, I felt bad. I really did. Cadillac Williams, Ronnie Brown, probably most dominant backfield that season, probably in the history of Auburn football. And then your senior year, you came out of nowhere. It was just this Jason Campbell that I've never seen before. And if you really want to talk about quarterbacks, you got Pat Sullivan, Damian Craig, Cam Newton. You're definitely in the top 5 of not only in the best quarterbacks in Auburn University, probably definitely in the top 10 in all of SEC. So that's something to be very proud of.
Yeah. I take great honor in that. Like I said, when Bobby Petrino got me my sophomore year, man, he did some really good stuff with me. At that time, I was competing with Daniel Cobb, but when I got a chance to play, I really excelled my sophomore year. So going to my junior year, I was kind of upset with Tuberville, the fact that we didn't go out and get an experienced offensive coordinator. You know, we try to do things by committee, and there was a lot of times I was trying to figure things out on the field, just because we didn't have that one lead dog as the coordinator. So, you know, Coach Borges came in, he was just like, man, the ability is already there. I've seen you make some exceptional plays. He was just like, we just got to find a way to keep you in the right positions and to do more things with your passing game. He was just like, y'all too run heavy. And he said this year we're going to find a way to become more of a balance, because people don't know this, but I came to Auburn as the number 2 quarterback in the nation out of high school. I was a passing quarterback. So when I got to Auburn, it was hard for me to rely on just handing the ball off to running backs. You know, I was used to being the one, you know, we threw the ball around and everything came off the passing game. So I had to make a huge adjustment when I got there and everything, because they recruited me as a passing quarterback and they said that's what we was going to do. So I had to reverse everything in my thinking process. And then when Borges got there, he said, you know, we're going to utilize your ability because it's underutilized. And so, you know, fortunately, he ended up using my big receivers. He ended up using my arm a lot, which opened up our pass, our run game. And I'm just so thankful for that, because, yeah, I could just tell people, I always tell people, I was like, I just wish I'd have had in my junior year as well, because we'd have set records. Because I always kept saying, man, we're not utilizing what I came here for. And thankfully, man, he came in right on time, and we was able to just utilize the whole offense, because that's how Ronnie ended up being a number 2 draft pick, was because we was able to sell him in the passing game, and people got a chance to see his strengths, not just as a runner, but as a receiving back at the backfield. And so him and Lack was able to go top 5 off of that. So, you know, it was just a great year, man, a great combination, and everything. Went down in history as one of the, you know, prolific passers in the SEC, and especially at Auburn. And like I said, man, if it wasn't for the year that Cam had in 2010, you know, I'd probably be right behind Pat. But, you know, he had such an exceptional year in 2010 and everything. But I'm okay being 3 in the program.
I don't think you're number 3, my man. Cam Newton played one season. You played. Cam Newton played 3? 1 season, huh? Cam's 3? Number 3. Cam's number 3. Damian Craig is number 4. Cam Newton only played 1 season. You played 4.
Yeah, you know, but you know how Auburn fans are, though, man. Like, I wish we would get to the point where we appreciate all our legends. You know, I always tell people, I said, man, we always just high point our Heismans too much. It's always either Cam, Bo, Pat. I just like, but we've had some great guys come through there. Cadillac, Ronnie, Takeo Spikes. You know, the list goes on, man. You think about the linebacker that we had to play for the Packers. I mean, play for the Steelers many years. Green, you know, what he did. You know, the linebacker that came through there. Aldel Greco, the kicker that came through Auburn. You know, it's just so many guys, man, that the list just goes on and on. You know, you're talking about Steve Wallace, you know, a guy that won 3 Super Bowls, played with Joe Montana and Jerry Rice and with the San Francisco 49ers. Like, these are things that the young guys don't even get a chance to hear when they come to Auburn. It's usually the top 3 guys they usually talk about. And I always say, man, we've always had, I finished 7th in the Heisman that year. At one point, I was top 5, and then, you know, they end up finishing at 7 because they go statistically off statistics. And there was a couple games that year I didn't even play in the second half because we had games won. And Tuberville didn't want me to get hurt, so I didn't play in the second half. So it was impossible for me to have the same type of numbers as some of the guys at Oklahoma or USC, because we was winning games at halftime most of the time. So, but I understood, man, it's a team sport, and that's why we were so successful. That's what made it so great. We won as a team. Like, we had 0 weaknesses because everyone depended on each other. Everyone pushed each other. And no one wanted to let each other down. And that's what makes a great football team. And, man, I'm just happy to be a part of one of the best football teams that ever come through Auburn.
You know, you speak about legends. When you got to the NFL, I mean, you was coach under Tommy Tuberville, SEC legend, college football legend. He's not real liked in Ole Miss, but, you know, in Auburn, he still got love. You got Joe GIbbs, probably one of the greatest football coaches of all time. You got to work under Al Davis right before he passed away. I mean, just through your NFL career, you met many, many, many legends. Tell us about that experience, Mike Shanahan. I mean, I can't believe I forgot about Mike Shanahan. You got to meet a lot of great NFL, or not just NFL, but football legends. How was it? I mean, just from a kid from Mississippi, how was it to come to the NFL and see all these historic Hall of Fame legends, and you were now working with them?
Well, for first and foremost, it's an honor. Like I said, Coach GIbbs drafted me. Guy that won 3 Super Bowls, Washington legend. One of the greatest coaches of all times. And just to get to know him and to be around him, and then understand that he cares more about your life than he does just for football. I have the utmost respect for him. And then, like I said, Al Davis. People think that Al was old, but Al was still super smart. Like, there were certain things he would call me into his office and we would talk about. And you knew exactly he was on point. Like, he could read people. He was good at reading people's body language and everything. And so he was a true legend, man. Everyone knows, the only thing that Al always said was just win, baby. And, that's what he was always say. By any means necessary, let's just get the W. And to sit in his office and see all those legends that he had on his wall, from Brown, everyone knows the DB. That was there when he was there. And then you look over there and there's Kenny Stabler on the wall, and then it just the list kind of just goes on and on. Art Shell on the wall, all these great guys that played for him, man, and to be able to sit in his office and put that silver and black on and go out there and play for a historic franchise, it was real. And sometimes you sit back and you look at it over your overall career, and there's some things you wish could have went better from an organization standpoint, but then there's some things you realize you couldn't control. But the one thing you can't take away, though, is some of the experiences and the memories that I got a chance to experience and not a lot of people ever get a chance to see. So, I really appreciate that.
Another big-time game that you played in down at Auburn was the LSU game. Can you kind of talk about what a nail-biter that was for you guys in 2004?
Yeah, LSU games are always very interesting games. You never know what you're going to expect from Auburn, the LSU game. Yeah, I remember that game. It was Hurricane Ivan week. I remember us being stuck in a hotel at the conference center across from the university. And we couldn't go out and practice because they had let school out that week because of the hurricane. And we didn't know if we was going to play the game until literally like Thursday. And all week we was doing walkthroughs in the hotels. Guys was kind of just, we didn't throw an active pass outside until that Friday. And that Friday was sunny. Thursday decided we was going to play. The weather was clearing up. Friday we actually went outside. We did a jog through practice. So that was the first time I actually having opportunity to throw to the receivers a live football. And then, the next day, we're lining up. We're playing to defend the national champs. And that was one of the hardest football games I've ever played in, and one of the hardest hitting games I've ever played in. I think they said it was somewhere between the number of 25 players between both teams that played on Sundays in that game, and on the same field at the same time. And to win that game 10-9, I remember we could have got more points. We went for it one time on 4th and 2 on the goal line, didn't get it. We went for it again inside the red zone, and we didn't get it. They had a stout defense that year. We had a stout defense, and it came down to the wire, man. Who's going to make a play? And I was able to hit Courtney Taylor on a 4th and 12 rollout against an all-zero blitz, and he made a great catch and ended up hitting him on 3rd and 12. Again, to win the game pretty much in the back of the end zone. And so it was just some great times, man. That's the game that kind of, when we won that game, it just took off from us. That was the game that got out the whole team confidence, and to win that game and to win in Knoxville, I would probably say this the other game in Tennessee was a top 10 matchup. College game day was there. A lot of people was picking Tennessee to beat us, but our guys showed up. We went out there and pretty much ended the game in the first half. And that's one of those games Tuberville kind of called the dogs off in the second half. I didn't get a chance to throw the ball as much in the second half and everything. He wanted to get out there with a victory. So, we just had that type of team, man. We was mentally and physically strong that year.
Yes. And what do you remember most about the Sugar Bowl game between you guys and Virginia Tech, and especially your mindset going in, because you guys were not obviously in the national championship game?
Geez, Sting.
Yeah, our mindset.
Sting, just rub salt in that wound a little more.
I'm
okay?
sorry, man. I mean, I want him to talk about how pissed off they were, though.
Yeah, I thought we was pissed off, but at the same time, we understood that we couldn't hang on to that because if we didn't finish the job, our whole season would go for, you know, almost not as nothing because we was
Right.
undefeated and won the SEC championship, but it still wouldn't have meant as much. Like we didn't finish it. So we always talked about that whole year, finish, finish, finish.
Yes.
Everything's about the finish. So, we have to lock in. We have to lock in quickly to Virginia Tech. 'Cause this was a team that had USC beat that year. They beat USC, beat them at the end off of a strange call or whatever that could have went either way. And USC barely beat Virginia Tech that year. Virginia Tech was a really, really good football team that year. And Frank Beamer had them rolling. And we knew they were stout. We knew it was going to be a tough football game. And we knew they were going to get their best shot. So, man, we came into that ball game and we saw them earlier that week down on Bourbon Street. And they was talking noise and everything. So it kind of just got guys locked in, and we was like, okay, it's on. So then when the game came, man, we came out hitting on all cylinders. We drive down the first time, we score. We drive down again, and we had to kick a field goal, and everything. But then we was up 16-0 in the fourth quarter, and here we go again. We asking Coach Tubb to give us the opportunity to put up more points, and he just wanted to get out there with a win and get it finished undefeated. And we let them score 2 late touchdowns off some fluke stuff, made it score a lot differently than what it should have been. And everything. But at the end of the day, we finished the job, which is very, very hard to go undefeated. I don't care at what level, at what sport, especially in the SEC, man. Like, that is a hard thing to do because each week it gets tougher and tougher and tougher because you're the hunted. Everyone wants to knock off the big dog, and you have to stay focused and stay locked. So, man, kudos to our team, like I said, in 04. And, we handled business. Like, people knew when they played us, we played Georgia that year, who was a big-time football team and had a bunch of seniors and David Green and Pollock and those guys and Davis, the linebacker. Everyone knows he's played in the NFL for a long time. So, they had a great squad, and then we beat them 24-6, and we called off the Dogs again in the fourth quarter of that game. So they're just games, man, that we really could have dominated people. And but we wanted to make sure that we were staying healthy, which probably was the right decision in those games to keep winning and get on to the next one. But it was really a dominant football team that year.
Oh, yeah.
And Jason, I have to say, when it comes to being one of the greatest human beings of all time, Cam Newton, the stuff y'all do off the field is amazing. And I have to give kudos to you and Cam Newton for all the stuff that y'all do. It's an honor to have you. It's an honor to have you on the CTS. You're a class act. I consider you a friend of the CTS. And anytime you want to come back, please, you're more than welcome. With that said, anything that you want to plug?
I appreciate that, Joy. Like I said, thanks, guys, for having me on. Everything, like I said, y'all can check me out on Instagram, jcampbell17. You also can check me out on my podcast show I do with Taylor Davis. It's Believe in Everything Auburn, BLEAV. It's free subscription. More people subscribe, tune in each week. More sponsorship we get, and the bigger our show is able to grow. So just subscribe, check in, and tune in, man. We talk about a lot of great things. And I just did an episode before I came on here with Taylor that we'll be putting out either later today or tomorrow. So everyone, make sure you tune in. We talk about the SEC Media Days, talk about Bo Nix, talk about what we expect from Coach Harsin and the season coming up. So check us out, man. We're on there, and follow me on Twitter, jcam_17 as well.
And Jason, my parting thing is be safe this season down in Auburn and have fun, my friend.
No, I appreciate it. Hopefully we can get off to a fast start. We'll see.
Yes, sir. Well, War Eagle to you, my friend, and thank you for joining our show.
All right, War,
you're just getting a goodbye from me, man.
All right, George. We'll see you on the plains when Alabama come to town.
I hear you, boss. I hear you. But that's
you will say War Eagle after y'all lose, though.
That's a bet.
You will have to come on this show and say War Eagle after y'all lose.
That's a bet. You seen it here first. A bet between me and Jason Campbell. If Auburn beats Alabama this year, not only will I say War Eagle, I'll come on the 3rd and 3 with nothing but Auburn gear. I'm talking about full deck Auburn cat, gear is on video. You've seen it here first. But with that said, Jason Campbell, you're an outstanding human being, and it's an honor and a privilege to get to meet you. And with that said, that's it. And we're back. Let's go back to 3rd and 3 with Clemson Tom.
Well, guys, that's going to wrap up this edition of 3rd and 3. We hope you've enjoyed it, and we really do want to thank Jason Campbell for joining us on this episode. However, we are going back to our roots of Alabama next week as the national champion Eric Curry is going to join us. But guys, real quick and make it short, do you guys have anything else you would like to add before we say sayonara?
Good night. Bye.
I just need to talk to Joey just for a sec.
What do you want to talk about?
Well, you're the most annoying guy on this.
Boy, when
You
I
eat
see you,
Arby's. Like, you're just like, la, 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 I'm going to go to Arby's.
when I see you, I'm ooh.
I got $100 says he can beat you in golf, and you'll play from the same. We'll play from the same tees, the tees up front, and he will beat you in golf. $100. $100
I got $200. I got $200. I won't be there.
$100 a hole.
I got $200. I won't be there.
$200 a hole.
Yeah.
You ain't got $200 a hole for 18 holes.
I don't got $200. Period. You talking about?
I can tell. Look at the cheap sunglasses.
Sting closes out, man.
All right, that's going to do it, guys.
Peace out. Sting, you got any more questions for Jason? Like any important games? Like bring up the LSU game, and after that, I can't think of. I don't want to talk about no Iron Bows.